Hello everyone, welcome to Weather Europe. It's the 12th of March, 2026, and I'm meteorologist Brian Shields with a detailed spring outlook across Europe. In this update, we're going to look ahead at what we can expect as we move into the start of spring and gradually work our way toward April. Some areas are going to be too dry, other areas will see a better chance of rain, and we'll also take a look at the overall temperature pattern across the continent. So today's forecast is really about looking ahead and understanding how the weather pattern may evolve as we transition into the spring season. First, let's talk about the short-term pattern that we've been dealing with over the past several days. The main storm track has been positioned across the North Atlantic, running from near Iceland toward Ireland and the United Kingdom. From there, systems have been lifting northeast toward Scandinavia. Because of this pattern, countries such as Norway, Sweden, and Finland have been experiencing more frequent precipitation in the form of rain and snow. At the same time, pieces of energy occasionally dip southward into Central Europe, but the majority of the active weather has remained across the northern part of the continent. There has also been a smaller disturbance in the eastern Mediterranean region, stretching from Cyprus back toward Turkey. This area has been producing occasional showers and some higher elevation snowfall. Overall, though, most of the activity remains concentrated farther north for now. But as we move deeper into March and approach the official start of spring, the storm track is expected to shift slightly southward. That means we could see more active weather developing across Portugal, Spain, and France before lifting north again into Central Europe. However, there is an interesting factor in this pattern. Some of the energy moving through the storm track may break apart and curve back toward the north instead of continuing eastward into southeastern Europe. Because of this, parts of the Balkans could remain somewhat drier than average, at least during the early stages of spring. That's something we'll continue monitoring closely because prolonged dry periods early in the season can sometimes lead to drought concerns later on. Now, looking at the 7-day precipitation outlook across Europe, we see a mix of conditions depending on the region. Areas shown in white represent near-average precipitation, meaning typical rain or snow for this time of year. Regions shaded in green indicate above-average precipitation, while the brown areas represent below-average rainfall. Over the next week, the Balkans region is expected to trend drier than average, while much of Western and Northern Europe will continue to see periodic rainfall as weather systems move through the Atlantic storm track. The Iberian Peninsula may begin to dry out slightly during the next several days, but when we expand the forecast window to the next 30 days, we begin to see moisture returning to parts of the Mediterranean. This is directly related to the shift in the storm track I mentioned earlier. As the storm systems begin dipping a bit farther south, the Mediterranean basin becomes a more active zone for developing rainfall. Despite that shift, Eastern Europe may still experience below-average precipitation during this period. Countries such as Germany and Poland could remain somewhat drier than normal, and this trend may even extend into parts of the Czech Republic and surrounding areas. This pattern becomes even clearer when we examine the longer-range 46-day precipitation outlook. According to the model projections, parts of Norway could continue seeing above-average precipitation. Scotland and Ireland appear closer to normal. Meanwhile, portions of France may receive above-average rainfall as storm systems move inland from the Atlantic. In contrast, Central Europe, including Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, may see below-average precipitation during this time frame. Similar conditions may develop across the Balkans, where countries such as North Macedonia, Albania, and Greece could experience drier than normal conditions. Interestingly, the eastern Mediterranean tells a slightly different story. Areas near Cyprus and southern Turkey may receive above-average rainfall as weather systems track across the region. So while southeastern Europe may trend dry, portions of the eastern Mediterranean could see a more active pattern. Now, let's talk about temperatures. Over the next 7 days, many parts of Europe will see temperatures running slightly above average. Warmer air will be moving in across portions of Western and Northern Europe, while a few cooler pockets may appear in regions where blue shading is present on the temperature outlook maps. These cooler areas are not expected to be dramatically cold, but they could be slightly below the seasonal average. Looking ahead to the 30-day temperature outlook, we see a broader trend emerging across the Mediterranean region. Areas including Italy, the Balkans, Portugal, and parts of North Africa, such as Morocco, may experience temperatures that run a bit below average for the time of year. This doesn't necessarily mean cold conditions, but it does suggest that the start of spring may not be unusually warm in these locations. The 46-day outlook shows a similar pattern continuing into mid-spring. Many parts of the Mediterranean basin may remain slightly cooler than average. At the same time, northern and northeastern Europe could see somewhat warmer conditions.
Countries such as Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania may experience temperatures that trend above average during this period. Now, let's focus on the current storm track and what we can expect over the next several days. As mentioned earlier, the primary storm path runs from Iceland through Ireland and the United Kingdom before lifting toward Norway. This pattern is bringing scattered rain showers to parts of Western Europe and snowfall to higher latitudes. As we move into Friday, rain is expected to spread across areas including Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. Some snowfall may also develop farther north in Scandinavia. By Saturday, the system begins to weaken as it moves eastward, meaning countries such as Poland could remain relatively dry during this period. However, snowfall may continue across the Alps, where colder air remains in place. Across the Mediterranean region, scattered rain showers will move through Italy and nearby areas. Another small disturbance will approach Turkey, bringing additional rain and some mountain snowfall. By Sunday, a weak low-pressure system may form across parts of the Mediterranean, possibly affecting islands such as Malta, while also producing showers near northern Algeria. As we head into early next week, the storm track continues stretching from Iceland through the United Kingdom and toward Norway. While the systems may weaken somewhat, they will still produce scattered rain and snow across northern Europe. Even though spring is approaching, snowfall remains possible in several regions. Over the next 7 days, parts of Norway could receive significant snow totals, with some mountainous locations approaching 75 centimeters. Scotland may also see snowfall totals exceeding 10 centimeters in some areas. The Alps could receive around 30 centimeters of additional snow during the same period. Rainfall totals will also be notable in parts of Western Europe. Over the next 3 days, many locations could see between 25 and 75 millimeters of precipitation. Northern Ireland has a particularly good chance of seeing higher rainfall totals. Meanwhile, Paris could also approach 75 millimeters as a strong batch of rain moves through. At the same time, several areas across Eastern Europe will remain relatively dry. Belarus, Ukraine, and Romania may see very little precipitation during this period. This reinforces the broader trend we've been discussing, where southeastern parts of Europe could begin the spring season on the dry side. As we move forward into the coming weeks, we'll continue monitoring this evolving pattern closely. The potential for drier conditions across the Balkans and southeastern Europe is something that meteorologists will watch carefully. In addition, factors such as Saharan dust events and possible drought development could become important topics later in the spring and summer. Thank you for watching Weather Europe and being part of the channel. Be sure to subscribe for more updates as we continue tracking Europe's weather patterns through the rest of spring and into the summer season. Have a wonderful day ahead.